Coming from CNN, New York State leaders announced an agreement on a bill to legalize recreational marijuana. Yeah, right. This is going to be pretty interesting. New York State leaders announced an agreement on legislation that would legalize marijuana across the state, a move they say would create jobs and bring in millions in tax dollars. The bill would expand New York's existing medical marijuana programs and establish the Office of Cannabis Management to implement a comprehensive regulatory framework that would cover medical, adult use, and cannabinoid hemp, Governor Andrew Cuomo's office said in a statement Sunday morning. The development of an adult use cannabis industry in New York has the potential to create 30,000 to 60,000 jobs and the ability to earn $350 million annually in tax collections, his office said. Wow. Legalizing adult use cannabis isn't just about creating a new market that will provide jobs and benefit the economy. It's also about justice for lone marginalized communities and ensuring those who've been unfairly penalized in the past will now get a chance to benefit. I look forward to signing this legislation into law, Cuomo said. The Legal Aid Society issued a statement Sunday in support of the announcement. This landmark legislation brings justice to New York State by ending prohibition, expunging conviction records that have curtailed the opportunities of countless predominantly young Black and Latinx New Yorkers. Latinx. I don't understand that particular word. It's always changing. Like people of color, Latinx, all kind of stuff just keeps changing. And delivers economic justice to ensure that communities who have suffered the brunt of aggressive and disparate marijuana enforcement are the first in line to reap the economic gain. And Orediku, supervising attorney of the Racial Justice Unit, and Anthony Posada, supervising attorney of the Community Justice Unit at the Legal Aid Society, said in a statement. That's going to be pretty interesting. So they're basically talking about a pseudo reparations type of program. All right, so let's get down here because I think that's going to be pretty interesting, man. Social and Economic Equity Program. The New York State Cannabis/Marijuana Regulation and Tax Act would add a 13% tax to retail sales for state and local tax revenue, the release says. The taxes would go into the New York State Cannabis Revenue Fund, and with the remainder after costs being split between education 40%, the Community Grants Reinvestment Fund 40%, and the Drug Treatment and Public Education Fund 20%. The Office of Cannabis Management will be an independent office operating as part of the New York State Liquor Authority. It would also have a two-tier licensing structure that would separate growers and processors from those owning retail stores, the release says. A social and economic equity program would facilitate individuals disproportionately impacted by cannabis enforcement, including creating a goal of 50% of licenses to go to a minority or woman-owned business enterprise or distressed farmers or service disabled veterans to encourage participation in the industry, the release says. Oh, so wow. So basically the people who are the first in line to get these licenses to grow and sell is going to be people who are veterans, service disabled veterans, meaning these are guys who are missing arms, guys who have severe PTSD, women who were veterans who've been sexually assaulted, guys who have gotten hit with like IEDs, guys who have been hit with like flashbangs, guys that been shot at, guys who have been shot. These people, they want to give those veterans, who many of them are homeless, an opportunity to get into a business that's easy to get into, and they can get funding now. They can get loans when this becomes legalized. And also for women and minorities, that's going to be important. Because a lot of women businesses have failed this. But I mean, don't get me wrong, businesses across the board have suffered. But a lot of the businesses were owned by women and freaking minorities. So now you open up a brand new industry in the Big Apple, baby. New York. They have the city that never sleeps. The city that never sleeps is now gonna have cannabis, recreational cannabis. Right? Now, with that being said, cities, towns, and villages may opt out of allowing adult use cannabis retail dispensaries or on-site consumption licenses by passing a local law by December 31st, 2021, or 9 months after the effective date of the legislation. Or 9 months after the effective date of the legislation. They cannot opt They cannot opt out of adult use. They cannot opt out of adult use legalization. It says so. You can choose, right? If you are in New York, you can say, okay, I don't want the dispensaries there, and I don't want the on-site consumption. But people are still legally allowed to have it. You can't do anything to them about that, right? So it's pretty interesting. In other states, several states have looked to loosen restrictions on marijuana. Voters in all 5 states with marijuana legalization on the ballot in November approved the measures CNN reported last year. New York's bill follows marijuana legalization in neighboring New Jersey. Last month, New Jersey Governor Phil Murphy signed 2 bills to legalize and regulate marijuana use for those 21 and older, decriminalize possession of limited amounts of marijuana, and clarify marijuana and cannabis use and possession penalties for those younger than 21. It came after a 2020 ballot measure that saw New Jersey vote to legalize recreational marijuana. State lawmakers, unable to gain enough support to pass a bill to fully legalize marijuana, agreed to place the question directly to voters. Do you approve amending the Constitution to legalize a controlled form of marijuana called cannabis? Like New Jersey, Arizona also voted to legalize recreational marijuana, and Montana voted to both establish 21 as a legal age of purchase, possess, and consume cannabis by constitutional amendment, and legalize marijuana for recreational use. South Dakota approved legislation for both recreational and medical use, the first state ever to approve medical recreational measures at the same time. And Mississippi voted to legalize medical marijuana, becoming one of the first southern states to do so. Yeah, that was shocking, Mississippi. Because the freaking South is just absolutely crazy and retarded when it comes to, marijuana. It's just insane. That it's been criminalized for so long. And the worst part about that, is that it saw people who were otherwise great people be locked up in prison. It saw people who were otherwise great people be abused and mistreated. It saw people who were otherwise wonderful individuals. Many of them could have had all the potential in the goddamn world, and yet they were shot down because they smoked some weed. Unbelievable. And I'm so glad that it's being legalized now. By the way, Andrew Cuomo, that does not take you off the goddamn hook. You still got to step down, sir. I'm glad that you're legalizing recreational weed in New York, but you still got to go, sir. So, you can pull that shit all you want to, but we haven't forgotten, Cuomo. We have not forgotten.